Society is currently lying to you through two completely different megaphones. Megaphone 1 tells you that your ambition, your aggression, and your desire to conquer are inherently toxic, that you need to sit down, be quiet, and apologize for your biology. Megaphone 2 screams from the other side of the internet, telling you to become a ruthless alpha, to treat relationships like transactions, and to worship at the altar of your own ego. Both of these paths are absolute garbage. They are two sides of the same counterfeit coin. You were not wired to be a passive observer in your own life, nor were you built to be a tyrant. You were built to be a sovereign. Today, we are tearing down the cheap scaffolding of modern internet masculinity, and we are rebuilding you from the bedrock up. Look around. We are living in an era of pendulum men. They swing wildly from the paralyzed nice guy who refuses to take up space, to the hyper-compensating hustle bro who hides his deep insecurities behind luxury cars and aggressive posturing. But what does psychology actually tell us? Carl Jung, the legendary Swiss psychiatrist, warned us about this exact phenomenon. He mapped out the male psyche into archetypes: the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. When a man is unintegrated, he doesn't just disappear. His energy mutates into shadow forms. The shadow of the warrior isn't just the coward, it's also the sadist. The shadow of the king isn't just the weakling, it's the tyrant. Stop right now and ask yourself, which shadow is running your life? Are you hiding behind a screen, numbing your potential with cheap dopamine? Or are you steamrolling people to prove a point no one asked you to make? True psychological sovereignty is the perfect, terrifying balance of capacity and restraint. It is the integration of the Jungian shadows, a dangerous man who has his danger completely under voluntary control. That is the only type of man the world actually respects. Before you can lead a boardroom, a community, or a relationship, you have to conquer the first domain. The first domain is you, your mind, your environment, your immediate responsibilities. Modern culture tells you to hack your way to the top, to visualize success. But visualization without taking out your own mental trash is just delusion. In the realm of high-performance psychology, there is a concept known as locus of control. Men who break under pressure have an external locus. They blame the economy, their upbringing, the algorithm, or their partner. Men who thrive possess an internal locus of control. They own the fault lines. Consider the Stoic emperor, Marcus Aurelius. He held the power to destroy nations with a whisper, yet his private journals are entirely focused on mastering his own mind, his own impatience, his own ego. He understood that power over others is a cheap parlor trick compared to power over oneself. Internalize this. I am the architect of my chaos, and I am the engineer of my order. If your room is a mess, if your physical health is decaying, if your word means nothing to yourself, do not dare ask why the world isn't giving you respect. You haven't earned the right to govern the second domain until the first domain is immaculate. We need to talk about your neurochemistry. You are living in an attention economy designed by billionaires to hijack your brain's reward center. Every time you doom scroll, every time you give in to digital temptation, every time you react impulsively to an internet troll, you are voluntarily handing over your sovereignty. You think you're relaxing. Neuroscience says you are eroding your baseline dopamine levels, destroying your capacity for long-term growth. The modern man is overstimulated and under-challenged. Look at history's greatest explorers. Look at Sir Ernest Shackleton. When his ship, the Endurance, was crushed by Antarctic ice in 1915, he didn't have the luxury of panic or impulse. He had 27 men looking at him in a frozen wasteland. He survived because he exercised absolute, ironclad impulse control. He regulated his own terror so his men could borrow his courage. Discipline is not about punishment. Let me repeat that. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of self-love. It is you today, protecting the man you want to be tomorrow. The next time you feel the urge to numb out, to react in anger, or to chase a cheap thrill, visualize a literal wall coming down between the stimulus and your response. In that gap lies your ultimate freedom. What does it mean to be a protector in the 21st century? The internet will tell you it's about knowing martial arts or buying weapons. And yes, physical capability is a baseline requirement. But the threats to your family, your friends, and your legacy today are rarely physical. They are psychological. They are digital. They are spiritual. A true sentinel protects the psychological safety of his environment. He protects his partner from his own unhealed trauma. Let that sink in. The greatest threat to your relationships might be the baggage you refuse to unpack. When you fly off the handle because your ego was bruised, you are not a protector. You are the predator in your own home. Protection means creating an environment where the people you love can breathe. It means shielding your children from the toxicity of an uncurated digital world. It means standing as a buffer between the chaos of society and the sanctuary of your inner circle. Ask yourself, are the people around you walking on eggshells, or are they walking on solid ground? Because you laid the foundation. A sovereign man's presence lowers the heart rate of everyone in the room. Let's shatter the most pervasive lie about provision, the idea that your worth is tied exclusively to your net worth. Yes, a man must produce. Economic stability is a tool, a resource, a lever to move the world. But if you are only bringing money to the table, you are devastatingly poor. We have a generation of financially successful men whose homes are emotionally bankrupt. True provision is an ecosystem. You must provide vision. You must provide stability. You must provide emotional bandwidth. In self-determination theory, psychologists identify three basic human needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness. A sovereign man provides an environment where those around him can achieve all three. If you work 80 hours a week to buy a house, but you are a ghost inside of it, you haven't provided a home. You've funded a waiting room. You provide by being intensely present, by listening without trying to immediately fix, by bringing a vision for the future that inspires your circle to elevate their own standards. Financial currency is just the baseline. Emotional and visionary currency is where empires are built. The world fundamentally misunderstands leadership. The toxic alpha model teaches that leadership is about standing on top of the pyramid and demanding service. History's greatest minds call this the tyrant's trap. True leadership is an inverted pyramid. You are at the bottom, bearing the weight of the entire structure. Consider the ethos of elite military units, the concept that leaders eat last. This isn't just a catchy book title. It's a biological, an anthropological necessity. In tribal history, the leader wasn't the guy who got the most comfortable cave. He was the guy who ran toward the rustling in the bushes in the dead of night so the rest of the tribe could sleep. Leadership is a sacrifice. It means you take the blame when things go wrong, and you give away the credit when things go right. It means swallowing your pride when you'd rather scream. It means initiating the difficult conversations. You do not demand respect. You extract it from the world through undeniable competence and unwavering service. Internalize this. My authority is directly proportional to my willingness to serve. You cannot think your way into this kind of manhood. You have to forge it. And the forge requires heat. We are drowning in a culture of comfort. Ergonomic chairs, climate control, food delivered to our doors in 15 minutes. Your biology is falling asleep. To awaken the sovereign within, you must intentionally manufacture adversity. Psychologists call this voluntary hardship. When you deliberately expose yourself to difficult things like a freezing shower, an agonizing workout, a complex book that challenges your worldview, or a terrifying public speaking engagement, you are doing something profound to your nervous system. You are expanding your window of tolerance. When you intentionally suffer in controlled environments, the uncontrolled suffering of daily life loses its sting. You stop flinching when the economy shifts. You stop breaking when a relationship gets hard. You develop a psychological callousing that makes you unbreakable. The man who avoids discomfort is a slave to it. The man who chases discomfort becomes its master. Choose your heart. We are at a tipping point. The world is starved for men of substance. Not caricatures, not boys pretending to be men by adopting aggressive internet personas. We need integrated, psychologically grounded, dangerously capable men who have voluntarily chosen to be good. You are not broken. You are just uncalibrated. It is time to drop the excuses. It is time to stop caring about the validation of a culture that doesn't even know what it wants. Master your first domain. Build the wall of discipline between impulse and action. Become the sentinel of your environment. Provide vision, not just capital. And step into the heavy, glorious burden of sacrificial leadership. The blueprint is in your hands. The forge is lit. The only question left is, are you going to step into the fire? Or are you going to spend the rest of your life warming your hands by someone else's flame? Rise up, take the helm, and become the architect of your own sovereignty.